Good afternoon, everybody. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday. We are going to go ahead and get started. And of course, just some housekeeping to start off. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to place them in the chat box. Of course, I will hang out afterwards for a few minutes if you have any questions. Also, there are handouts available as always, a copy of the PowerPoint, a handout of the PowerPoint, and a few other handouts and or resources that are available in the handout section as well. So let's go ahead then and get started. So as always, my name is Thad Graham. I am the education specialist here with the Victim Services Program for Family Services Incorporated. Today we're going to be looking at the subject of LGBTQ plus parents and the importance of acceptance. So we are looking at the importance of parental acceptance for LGBTQ plus youth. So let's go ahead and get started. Of course, our mission here at Family Services is to provide resources to build healthier relationships and promote personal growth. Our vision, of course, is to engage with communities to meet the needs of their most vulnerable members. And of course, a little trigger warning just to let you know, we are going to be talking about information that could be triggering to some. So please, the most important thing is that you take care of yourself. Your mental health is the most important thing for all of us. Today's objectives, we are going to discuss the increased risk of victimization in the LGBTQ plus community. We're going to discuss the risk associated without parental acceptance, discuss the benefits of parental acceptance, discuss examples of how to show support for an LGBTQ plus youth for your child, etc., and discuss examples of how not to show support for your LGBTQ plus youth. So of course, we are hosting this webinar as Pride 2021 comes to an end. Victim Services, of course, did celebrate Pride 2021 in our own Victim Services way. Of course, we had plenty of information on social media to show and bring awareness to the increased risk of victimization when it comes to LGBTQ plus youth. So if you did not see, some of that information that we posted on our social media talks about how 1 in 8 lesbian women and nearly half of bisexual women experience rape in their lifetime. Also looking at sexual assault, nearly half of bisexual men and 4 in 10 gay men have experienced sexual violence other than rape in their lifetime, as well as a staggering 64% of transgender people have experienced sexual assault in our lifetime, or in their lifetime. Also, when looking at human trafficking and specifically homelessness with LGBTQ plus youth, up to 40% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ plus, making them more vulnerable to human trafficking, specifically in this instance, sex trafficking. Up to 46% of LGBTQ plus youth ran away because of family rejection. So remember that almost half of homeless youth who are LGBTQ plus ran away due to family rejection. That's an insane percentage. Once they are homeless, they are 7.4 times more likely to experience acts of sexual violence than their heterosexual peers. They are also anywhere between 3 and 7 times more likely to engage in survival sex to meet the basic needs such as shelter, food, drugs, and toiletries, which of course we know is another form of sex trafficking. Also, roughly 56% of transgender youth are involved in the sex trade once they become homeless. Over half of homeless transgender youth are being forced to sell themselves for sex, either to meet their basic needs or because they are being victimized in other ways. We also know that LGBTQ plus youth are overrepresented in detention for prostitution-related offenses and report higher levels of police misconduct than their heterosexual peers. Lastly, we have teen dating violence. Teen dating violence affects LGBTQ plus youth disproportionately more than heterosexual youth. We know that 24% of youth who reported having only same-sex romantic or sexual relationships experienced either psychological abuse or physical dating violence. We know LGBTQ plus victims of teen dating violence might feel too afraid to tell others about their abuse or to seek help because doing so would out them, would expose them and themselves and or their partners. They are afraid of it not being accepted or being rejected, oftentimes by their family, by their parents. And we know that 37% of LGBTQ plus youth report significantly higher rates of cyber dating abuse victimization. So throughout the month of Pride, the Victim Services Program, specifically our wonderful program coordinator and our helpline advocate, Brittany Cervello and Richard Cervello, did an amazing job getting this information out on social media. So today, we are going to look at the question of why is family acceptance important? And we already looked at a few things. We see that, up to 50% of homeless LGBTQ plus youth were homeless due to family rejection, due to the fact that they came out and that their family rejected them. We can also see they're already at a higher rate of victimization than other groups. So when looking at this question, we look at the research, and research demonstrates a strong link between family rejection of LGBTQ plus youth and negative physical and mental health outcomes. Without family acceptance, these youth are more than 8 times as likely to attempt suicide, almost 6 times as likely to report high levels of depression, more than 3 times as likely to use illegal drugs. They are more likely to have unprotected sex. And because of this, they are more than 3 times as likely to be at a high risk for HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. Without family acceptance, without parental caregivers, without legal caregivers that are accepting of their identity and their sexuality, these youth are at a higher risk, even so, of victimization, of suicide, of depression, of illicit drug use, and of STDs. Family acceptance does help protect adolescents against suicidal behavior, depression, and substance abuse. Young people with accepting families also reported higher self-esteem, social support, and overall health. It's simple. Family acceptance saves lives. We could end the webinar here and call it a day, because that's what it comes down to. Without that parental acceptance, without that familial acceptance, these teens, these children, these youth are at an even higher risk of victimization, of suicide, of depression, of death. And when it comes down to it, family is important and parents are the key. Parental reactions matter. They're very important. How we react to and support children of ours that come out as LGBTQ plus, or your children that come out as LGBTQ plus, is very important. So when a child comes out to their parents, parents often respond in a multitude of different ways, often on a scale. At one extreme, we have rejection, where they outright reject their child and even throw them out of the house. We know this happens almost 50% of the time, 46%. At the other end of the spectrum, we have parents that celebrate their children's identity, and then we have everything in between. Some parents accept their children right away by expressing their love and support, but still need time to adjust. Most parents are somewhere closer to the middle. They will become more accepting over time. So on our little scale here, we have on the far left, child rejection, all the way up through to celebration. Most parents will end up in the accepting over time category. Right there, relatively in the middle, where they're not quite sure if they did something or if there's more questions, etc. But they will get there eventually. So what are those questions and conflicting feelings that we have? One of the first things we have to understand as parents, as caregivers, that if your child is coming out to you, that it is absolutely okay to have questions and conflicting feelings. They are absolutely normal. Depending on your faith or cultural beliefs, you may have a difficult time understanding this part of your child's life. And that is absolutely okay. That is absolutely normal and expected. Many parents will wonder if they did something wrong. Will they ever have grandkids? How will people treat their child? How do I tell other people? How can my child be sure? Maybe it's just a phase. You know, all of these questions are absolutely normal and absolutely okay. Now, that being said, by asking these questions, you may make your child feel like they're being rejected. Now, you have to understand, and we all understand, especially as parents, that when we ask these questions, when we have these concerns, we are asking them out of love and concern. But we also have to understand that the child may feel like they are being rejected and that we are rejecting an important part of who they are. We need to reassure them that we accept them for who they are. Of course, you as a parent may need to mourn the loss of what you expected and wanted for your child. I have 3 children. I have, wonderful expectations of what I want to see them do with their lives. That being said, we as parents, we all have those expectations. Something like this may cause your world to shift a little bit. And mourning the loss of what your expectations were for your children is absolutely okay. But remember that your child can have a healthy future, and they're actually more likely to achieve their goals of having a healthy, happy, and wonderful life when they feel accepted by their families, and that starts with their parents or their caregivers. We also have to understand that it will take time to learn what your child needs. Every child is different. It is going to take communication, and it will take time to understand how best to support your child while going through this, while coming out, etc. You can find a way to maintain your values and keep your family together by starting to support your LGBTQ plus child, even when you have a hard time accepting that this is a part of their identity. Once again, it is okay to mourn the loss of your expectations and to question, what the future is going to look like for them. That is okay. But at the same time, you can still maintain your values and support your child. So how do we do this? How do we provide an accepting, a loving home, an accepting behavior, a way to make sure that our children feel safe if or when they come out. Of course, we want to ask them about their experience and how we can help them feel supported. Of course, they're going to know what is, best in supporting them, what makes them feel loved, what makes them feel accepted. We need to listen without interruption or arguing. We need to tell them that you love them and, of course, express affection. This doesn't change that they're your child. This doesn't change that they love you and they look up to you. You're going to learn together about issues of LGBTQ plus youth. It is very important to educate yourself. There are a ton of resources provided in this webinar as well to look at, to help yourself learn more and to understand the issues that your child or your children could be going through or will go through in the future. You need to stand up for your child when they are mistreated, even by other family members. You may be accepting with time, you may be accepting right away. We also understand that there are going to be other family members that are not going to accept it or that are going to take longer to accept it. Your job as their parent is, of course, to always stand up for your child when they are mistreated, even by other family members. You are going to encourage family and friends to check in with your child and show support. Of course, you want to challenge homophobic comments or ideals. You want to get to know your child's intimate partner and friends, no different than you would with a heterosexual child. And of course, you also want to support your child's gender expression. Do not prevent them from being who they are. Support them, learn, and understand. So what do we not do? Well, of course, hitting or threatening your child is definitely a no matter what, especially when we're trying to set and show them that we are accepting and supportive. Shaming, name calling, or not letting your child talk about their sexual orientation or gender identity is not correct either. You should not exclude them from family events. They are still your child, they are still family. There is nothing different. There is no reason they cannot attend family events as any other child would. You should not stand by silently if family or others bully them. Once again, stand up and protect your child. You should not blame or punish your child for who they are. You should not restrict access to information or events about LGBTQ plus identity and topics. Information is the key for both your child and yourself. The more information that you can gather, the more information that you both can obtain and understand, the better. You should not cut them off from supportive friends withholding affection. You should not pressure your child to be more or less masculine or feminine. Let them be who they are. And you should never punish them by cutting them off financially. Support your child to the best of your ability. And remember that acceptance is a journey. It's not all or nothing. We don't have to reject our child, even if our beliefs, our faith, or otherwise are different from our children's. You can find a balance between what you're comfortable with and what your child needs. You should start by supporting your child, such as requiring that other family members treat them with respect, as they do everyone else, as they do other family members. You should stand up for your child when they're mistreated. This helps validate that you support them. You support their well-being without forcing them to, conform to someone they are not. You can also find support from other parents and groups. It is very helpful to connect with other parents of LGBTQ plus children to find support and, of course, a safe space to be honest about your feelings, whether they're positive or negative. There are also groups nationally and locally that help support families, individuals, and allies of LGBTQ plus individuals. PFLAG, PFLAG is a national organization. Closest one to us is either Indiana, Pennsylvania, or Harrisburg. There's also a location in Pittsburgh. They are a national organization that helps families that are going through this transition, who have had children or youth that have come out, and assist them and the children with understanding and acceptance. So what happens if maybe you didn't react the best when your child first comes out? It's a natural response. It happens. If you do not feel good about your first reaction, first off, understand we all make mistakes and we all learn and grow as individuals. It helps to remember that both you and your children are usually acting from a place of love, even if it doesn't come across that way. If you didn't react well the first time, that's okay. You can learn, you can grow. Even if you didn't have the best initial reaction, you can still learn to support your LGBTQ plus child. The most important thing you can do is to tell your child how much you love them and how much this is not going to change that. It's not going to change your love and support for them. Your love reassures them that you are there for them, and it creates a space to talk honestly about each other's feelings. Honest and open communication in the parent-child relationship is pivotal. Whether we're talking about LGBTQ plus children or heterosexual children, open and honest communication between parent and child is pivotal in that healthy relationship, and for that child to get appropriate and correct information as they get older. It is also important that your family stays connected and grows together. Once again, this is not something that needs to separate or to push family members apart. It is an opportunity for everyone to grow as individuals and to become closer as a family. Some final thoughts. Remember to give your child credit for doing something that is really difficult if they have chosen to come out to you. Remember, this is something your child will have to do many times in their life to many different people. Sometimes it'll go good, other times not so well. They will face rejection, persecution. It will not be an easy thing. It will not be an easy path. But starting on their path with your love and acceptance can help them develop a sense of self-worth and confidence to face future challenges. The truth is, an LGBTQ plus youth, a child that comes out as LGBTQ plus, who is LGBTQ plus, they are going to have more challenges throughout their life than a heterosexual child. Because of this, they need that acceptance and that development of self-worth and confidence to help them throughout their life. Your acceptance can set them on a path to a healthier and more fulfilling life. Remember, it comes down to 4 simple words. Family acceptance saves lives. It's that simple. Accepting your child as they are, showing them love and affection, and helping them develop that self-worth will help reduce the likelihood of being victimized and will hopefully put them on a track to live a healthy and fulfilling life. Of course, we know that nothing is ever guaranteed, and that's why we are here. Family Services Incorporated, the Victim Services Program, we are here to help. If you have questions, whether it comes to victimization or even questions on LGBTQ plus youth and assisting them or family acceptance, we are always here to help. If you are a victim or if you know someone who is a victim, the sexual assault, domestic violence, teen dating violence, intimate partner violence, or human trafficking, please feel free to reach out to us. Of course, our toll-free helpline, 814-944-3585, a local number. You can call or text it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that gives you instant access to an advocate 24 hours a day. Also find us on social media. Our social media platforms for the Victim Services Program and Family Services as a whole just keeps growing. Just last month, the Center for Child Justice, the Blair County CAC, created their own Facebook page. There is a ton of great information on the FSI Center for Child Justice, on preventing child abuse, on helping identify child abuse, and a ton of other great resources that Ashley Owens and her team are putting out on their Facebook and social media platforms. Please, if you have not, please go like their page. A lot of great resources there as well. Of course, our Victim Services Program, as well as Family Services. You can also find the Victim Services Program on Instagram, and you can find us on YouTube and GoToStage as well. Remember, all of these webinars are uploaded to YouTube within, a few days, and they are also uploaded to our GoToStage within the hour. They are available to watch 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can learn and re-watch at your own pace. Thank you again. Our information here as well. Also, our Webinar Wednesday summer schedule has been set. Emails have been set out. We are going to have one webinar a month, at least scheduled for right now, until September. There may be a few more popping up. If so, we will make sure to let everybody know. As for now, this is our Webinar Wednesday summer schedule through September. Once again, in October, we will go to weekly webinars for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful day. Of course, resources are available. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If not, have a wonderful day.